Update 46 added 2 new ships that are the first of their kind in Dynamic Ship Simulator 3. The new Berlin and Amsterdam-class replenishment ships are able to perform the new underway replenishment feature on many ships in the game. These ships have the capability to completely change PvP battles and offer a very unique experience. I'll have a separate video out on how to actually perform replenishment in the near future, because this video is solely about touring the new replenishment ships and providing information about them. So with that being said, let me go ahead and list their stats. Something very nice about both of these ships is that they both have the exact same stats for everything. Both ships were made by Oceanos, and they both cost 5 million credits. They have a base speed of 16.1 knots and a level 3 speed of 20.2 knots. On screen now, you can see each of the upgrade speeds as well as their cost. In total, it costs 423,999 credits to fully upgrade both ships. So with those basic stats out of the way, let's begin with the tours. I'm going to start with the Berlin. As usual, I will start my tour at the bow and work my way back to the stern. The bow is a bit cluttered with bollards, winches, and your windlasses. Just behind it, you have a smaller superstructure. On both sides, there is a 27mm gun, however, it does not function and is instead just for show. This superstructure does hold up a platform with a mast, and you can also see that the horn is right at the very front of it. A little further back, you have space for a decent amount of shipping containers. And in the middle of the deck, you can find a large cargo crane. In the very middle of the ship, you can find the main attraction. This is where all of the replenishment action happens. Now, to be honest, I can't tell you what all of this does, but I can tell you that there's a lot of different winches, wires, and hoses that all work together to rearm and refuel ships while moving at sea. And if that's not pretty cool, then I don't know what is. At the base of the structure, you have all of these winches which are connected to the different mechanisms throughout. And on the sides, you can find the hoses that are used for refueling. Something pretty cool is that you're able to actually climb this ladder and take it all the way up to the top of this big platform. And you're then able to walk around this entire area. This whole area is really complicated, but it looks super cool. Just in front of the main superstructure is the MERS unit. This is pretty much one big medical center that can handle pretty much any medical situation you throw at it. Inside are operation rooms, examination rooms, dental facilities, therapy facilities, laboratories, and much more. Combined with even more medical spaces below deck, the ship essentially has an entire hospital, and you do also have another big cargo crane right in front of it. But before we go any further, I would like to quickly go down these stairs to the decks below. Now, there isn't necessarily a whole lot down here, but it will take you all the way down to the stern. And back at the stern, you have these big winches and bollards. And there is also a second set of stairs that will take you to the base of the main superstructure. Before we go any further up, let's go ahead and take a look at the stern. Back here is the flight deck where helicopters can come and land on the ship. And at the back of the main superstructure, you can also see the hangar doors where they could be stored. And on the left is where the air traffic control is. On both sides at the back of the main superstructure, there are also these 27mm guns again, but as previously said, these do not work. But now with the stern out of the way, let's go ahead and explore the superstructure. Heading up these stairs will take us to the deck above. Up here is where you can deploy the lifeboats from. These lifeboats are brand new to the Berlin. They are pretty similar to ones we've seen before though. On both sides there's just a bench that goes all the way down the lifeboat, and then in the middle there's a little seat where you can pilot it from. These can of course be lowered like any other lifeboat would be. You walk over to the middle and press the prepare cutter button. This will then swing the boat over the water. You could then go to the left and start holding E to lower the lifeboat into the water. These lifeboats have a top speed of 7 knots. And if you position the lifeboat under the davit, you're able to bring it back up to the ship. You can do this by protecting the connect cutter button and then going over to the right and holding E to start raising the cutter back up. Once it's up, you can press E to swing it back over onto the ship. Going up one more deck, this is where you're actually able to enter the lifeboats from. There really isn't a whole lot else on this deck. And the same goes for the next one too. But heading up one more deck will take you to the same deck that the bridge is located on. But before we go into the bridge, let's take a look at the back of this deck. First, you can find what I assume to be an empty pool, but there is also one set of stairs back here that will take you out to the back and overlooking the flight deck. And you're also able to find one more set of stairs leading up to the very top deck of the ship. Up here you can find a bunch of radar equipment, 2 masts, and the funnel. But now, let's go ahead and take a look inside the bridge. Now going down the middle of the bridge are all of these different consoles. All of these consoles look really nice, and the one you can control the ship from is the green one with all of the red buttons around it. Since we are at the helm, let's go ahead and listen to the horn. Personally, I think the horn on the Berlin sounds really cool. It's something we haven't actually heard in DSS3 before. At the back of the bridge on both sides, you have these storage lockers as well as some electrical stuff. And in the middle at the back of the bridge, you have these wooden cabinets. At the front of the bridge, you can just see that there's some different things mounted to the wall. In the middle, there is also a nice wooden cupboard area. But with the bridge out of the way, that does mean that I finished touring the Berlin-class replenishment ship. However, the Berlin does have one skin, Bonn, that can be purchased for 15 Robux, so I'm going to go ahead and go over that now. This skin changes the lower hull color to be black instead of red, and also changes the pennant number. But most notably is the new deployable it adds. This deployable has a very unique appearance, and the reason it looks the way it does is because it's actually a converted yacht tender. Now inside there really isn't a lot, just one big bench that goes around the entirety of the walls and the helm in the middle. This deployable has a top speed of 25 knots. And that pretty much sums up all of the changes that this skin makes. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to the Amsterdam. The bow of the Amsterdam is one that's a bit cluttered. On it you can find bollards, windlasses, and winches. And then a bit further back you have a cargo crane on each side of the ship as well as a cargo hatch in the middle. Unlike the Berlin, the Amsterdam has a bridge at the front of the ship. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that in just a second. Moving back just a bit more, on both sides you have two inflatable life rafts. And then there's also the RIB 2000D, and there's one on each side of the ship. This deployable is brand new and is pretty cool. As usual, walk over to the crane, press E to prepare the cutter, and it will be swung over the water. You can then go ahead and hold E to lower the cutter into the water. This RIB is quite fast, with a top speed of 38 knots. And then of course you're able to pick it back up as long as it's positioned under the davit. To get up to the bridge, simply take these stairs up 2 decks. You can then walk forward and you'll be brought onto the bridge wings. There's even a nice little bench out here. Inside the bridge, it really looks very nice. At the front of the bridge, there's a bunch of different consoles, and in the middle is where you can find the helm. And since we are at the helm, let's go ahead and take a listen to the horn. So as you can hear, she does have the same horn as the Berlin. Towards the back of the bridge, you can find yet another console on either side of the bridge. The one on the left is more tech related, while the one on the right looks more so like a charting table. In the back left of the bridge, you have some electrical boxes. And then you also have some more mechanical boxes, and in the very middle, you have a door leading out to another room. On the right, you just have some more mechanical boxes, a wooden cabinet, and a few different things posted on the walls. Heading back towards the middle of the ship, you have 2 different areas where replenishment can take place. While they are different from the ones on the Berlin, you certainly can see some similarities. At the base of them though, there's a lot less winches. And of course on both sides you can find the replenishment hoses hanging from the top. Now the ladders on the Amsterdam unfortunately do not work like they do on the Berlin, so there's really no way to get up to the top here. Right in the middle of the ship there is this little raised area. And there's 4 different cabs where replenishment operations can be overseen for their respective side. But as you may notice, there is also another deployable, the Frisk. This is another brand new deployable only found on the Amsterdam, and it works the exact same as any other deployable. The Frisk is quite large, having a total of 10 seats, one of them being the helm. Like the Pacific 24, the Frisk does have animated steering, however the throttle is not animated. The Frisk also has a top speed of 38 knots, so it is also very fast. It's pretty cool to have something of this size moving this quickly. The Frisk even has docking thrusters, which is something you just really don't see on deployables. And back behind this raised bit, you do of course have that other replenishment area. And now let's explore the rear of the ship. Now if you stay on the main deck, you are able to take this walkway down all the way to the stern. At the stern you have a lot of bollards, some deployable life rafts, and this one huge winch that's lowered down a little bit. But if you choose to go up these stairs on the front of the rear superstructure, it will take you all the way down to the flight deck. You do also have 4 more inflatable life rafts on either side of the ship. The flight deck, as you can see, is right above where we just were, and you can see that there's 2 hangar doors where you can store the helicopters. There is also a smaller garage door, and just above it you do have another deployable. It is just the same one that we've already seen before. Now funnily enough, there really isn't any way to actually get up to these top decks. There are a couple ladders, but they really aren't connected in the best way. So really jumping up is the only way you can get to these areas up here. At the very top of the aft superstructure, there is one goalkeeper Sea-Wiz system, and that does bring up something I would like to mention. While both ships perform the exact same statistically, the Amsterdam does bring a few PvP things to the table, such as this goalkeeper Sea-Wiz. This Sea-Wiz system has a 70% chance to shoot down enemy missiles. And the Amsterdam does also have 12 total chaff that the Berlin does not. Just behind the Sea-Wiz there is this nice little lookout tower, and in front of that you can find the funnel. Now with that stern area out of the way, that does mean that I've shown off the entirety of the Amsterdam-class replenishment ship. This ship is just awesome, and I truly believe it's one of the coolest looking ships in the game. But that does now mean that I have finished showing off the 2 new replenishment ships added in update 46. So thank you all very much for watching. If you did enjoy, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And my Discord server is linked in the description for those who may be interested. But until next time, I will see you all later. Bye!